jar gifts. Now, I have a book that's all about gifts in a jar. So if you want more ideas, send me an email and I can send you some more ideas. But this one's already set up. On your paper you have 2, so it has to be perfect. And now we're going to mix our cinnamon sugar with mix our cinnamon with half our sugar. And then the important part is to layer the ingredients in the bowl in the proper order. And I've done a little bit of playing around with this because, like, I've tried to make it, like the M&Ms, the stuff goes in between it, it's hard to see the layers. So I've tried to play around with it to try to get it to look, the layers to look a little better. Get this a little darker. But one thing I do when I make the small batch is take the whole wheat flour is not very much quantity, so I mix that with the cocoa powder to give it more volume so that you can actually see a layer rather than having them be 2 separate layers. So basically we're going to layer them in our batter bowl in this order. What's the order, Dorothy? Salt. Salt. Okay, how much? Half a teaspoon of salt. How much baking powder?
Half a teaspoon of baking powder.
Alrighty. You know, for people that normally come to this class, I hardly ever measure. But when you're baking, it usually is a good policy to get into to measure. Alright, half a teaspoon of baking powder. Now we take the salt and the baking powder and then the flour, right? Half a cup of flour, right?
Right.
Alright. And we're going to put them all in there. And what I was saying before, Dorothy, was that when I make a small one, I mix the cocoa and the whole wheat flour together because the whole wheat flour is such a small quantity in that smaller version that it doesn't create its own layer. Alright, then next we're going to take our cocoa powder. Okay, and what's next?
Cup of M&Ms. Plain sugar.
Plain sugar. Gently, gently, ladies. Plain sugar. Now what?
M&Ms.
Now you can buy M&Ms that are tiny, tiny, tiny. Those are the good ones to use for this, because I found that it doesn't, like your next layer doesn't fall in between it so much, and they're really hard to find. And I found some at the store, but they're only like in a little package like, and there was like 2 minutes. I always like to put more of these in. Well, partly because the next layer sinks down in between it. And so then we've got our M&Ms. Now we need our walnut pieces. And I have a half a bag here, but we're going to have to chop some more. Use any kind of nuts you want, or coconut, or alright. And the reason I started stacking it in this order is because the nuts tend to sink through the M&Ms less than if you had flour there. And what I do with this is like spread them out a little bit so that you can actually see what. No, we need a whole, we need a cup and a half of flour altogether. So we only put in half a cup before. So we need a whole cup now, but if the recipe's wrong, you might want to make notes. The ingredients are right, but the method might be wrong because I changed it to whole wheat and I might have missed a piece there. Okay.
So actually
So you need a whole cup and a half.
You need a cup and a half of flours combined. Whether it's all white or part wheat, it doesn't matter. Your cinnamon sugar, which we already made. And at this point, I'm pouring it like closer to the edge because the center, that way you can see the layers better. I'll let the center be kind of concave. And then we need our chocolate chips. And you know, this is nice. You could use butterscotch chocolate chips if you wanted. So what you do is get your buy your batter bowl, and really, if you buy the ingredients to make one of these, you've got the ingredients to make 3 of them. Chocolate chips. So basically, you buy 3 batter bowls, and you make 3 sets of gifts, and they come with a lid. And then what I do at this point is take a piece of like wrapping paper, or like you'll notice here, this is a quart one, just half the recipe. And take a piece of tissue paper or wrapping paper or something and put it in here so that this stays down. And then the batter bowl comes with a nice lid. And so you add a tag onto this that says, add 3 eggs, tablespoon of vanilla, and a fourth cup of water. Mix it up and bake it. So now, we just got this as a gift. Oh, thank you so much. Well, I'll show you. We're going to make it in this. Just take our batter brownies now that we received this lovely gift and put them in the bowl. And now we have this for our continued use. Yes.
Is it a half cup of water or a quarter cup? Quarter cup of water.
Yep. We'll see if it's wet enough. By the way, when you're one of these right here, filled up to that, most of your lids are just under a teaspoon. And so, like I hardly ever, that way you don't have to worry about over pouring it. If it's not wet enough, we'll just have to add more, won't we? We have 3 eggs in here and our water. Let's see, we're about there. All right, so we're going to lightly grease our pan here. You could spray it. You could use butter on it, which is what we're going to do. Actually, we might need just a little more water, Lisa. A little more water? Let's change it to 1/3 of a cup of water. Not going to go to a half. Alright, so the small recipe makes 1 quart, which is what this is. Like last year I bought a whole case of these, and like 2 jars of M&Ms, 2 packs of M&Ms, 2 packs of chips, and then just everything else, and made it with like twice with 6 kids each time. Like, it's a good craft, it's a good thing, so you can make like little gifts just like this. You know, for $50 you got like 12 kids gifts to give, and an entertaining day as well.
It's fun for adults to do too.
It's fun for adults to do too, yeah. And if I can do it and take all your...
I make them every year.
Do you?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
soups.
I have a book that has probably hundreds of gifts for jars.
Yeah, I think they're fun.
All right. We're going to plop this into the oven. We'll put it right in the oven right now.
Handle is heat-proof.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The handle is definitely heat-proof. These are pretty chocolatey cakes. Pretty chocolatey brownies. All right, we're going to go ahead and put this in the oven.
35 minutes.
Whatever it says, Dorothy.
35 minutes.
Batter bowl brownies. Batter bowl brownies.